Back on the Young Turks. Now we have a very interesting guest for you guys. I'm going to introduce him this way. Jim Dean, co-founder of Democracy for America. Now, Jim, I normally reserve that for your brother, but in this case, it appears you're much more worthy of it. Uh-oh.
Jake, how you doing?
Good, good. Look, I build this as you're throwing down with the other co-founder of Democracy for America, Howard Dean. So let's get to it. Let's have fun. Do you disagree with Howard Dean on his policy on the Ground Zero Mosque, so-called Ground Zero Mosque?
Well, let me tell you what we agree on. We sent an email out on Thursday night talking about religious freedom and the need for tolerance in this country, and asking our members and others to take a pledge to have a conversation with somebody about that, and frankly do something about the 65% of the folks in this country who oppose this mosque, who most of whom are not wingnuts, but just don't understand this the way that we think they should, and the way that really encompasses the values of this country. And on that, we completely agree.
I hear you.
And that's something we're going all out. We do disagree about the project, the Park 51 project being relocated. Democracy for America has the position that it should stay where it is. But the wider question and the more important question is that we need to get beyond where we are, particularly with this dialogue that's going on in the mainstream media about Islam, about Muslims, and be the America that we're supposed to be, which is the America of religious tolerance and freedom.
So, Jim, let me ask you a more specific question, because we now know that you disagree with your brother on the location of Park 51, as you said, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk, and you said, and I've heard talk to Arshad Hassan from your organization too, and he said he also talked to Howard Dean. You want to encourage conversation about this. That's great, and I like that, and I agree with that. But when you talk to your brother about it, you say, hey, listen, do you see how this might feed into the idea that if the Republicans or the conservatives or Fox News screams loud enough, that we're then giving in to them by moving the mosque? Have you challenged him on that front, and what was his answer to that if you did?
All right, well, actually, I have not. Believe it or not, I was trying to be on vacation last week. Didn't quite work out that way, so we have not had that specific conversation. I think, where we're coming from is that we don't want to be, we don't want to cave in to the right wingness. We don't think that Newt Gingrich or Sarah Palin or those folks are really relevant in this debate, and I think Howard would agree with that. I think where Howard's coming from is having that conversation with the 65% of the Americans that are not comfortable with this project for reasons that aren't quite clear to me. Some because they may just not understand it the way they should, or the way that encompasses again our values. So we've got to go out and do that, and that's the way forward in this thing. And I understand that this controversy has, or certainly the Park 51 thing has vast implications, and has been taken over by a debate that really passes by a lot of Americans. But our position is we're going to stand for it, and we're going to stand for it. To your point, really, because we don't think that that moving this thing or giving a so-called victory is in the best interest of having that conversation and having that debate, or giving the likes of Newt Gingrich and Sarah Palin a victory is the best way to have that debate.
Jim, final question on this. Is there any truth to the fact that you and Howard are going to wrestle during Thanksgiving dinner to decide where this Park 51 should go?
And I'd like to just point out that the one thing you have to say about Howard is that he has fought for tolerance and for religious tolerance and for freedom and for equality, really in all of his adult life, both public and private, and at sometimes at great risk to both himself and even his family. So, he's coming from a good place. Again, I happen to disagree with him on the Park 51 thing, but in terms of the larger issue of the conversation that we've got to have with the rest of this country to get it on track and to prove to the world that we are what we say we are, we're all in the same place.
All right, so I'm going to take that as a no on the wrestling idea. Okay.
No on the wrestle idea, although I do have some, I guess, sumo qualities to myself that might make that battle a little interesting. We're not going to be doing that over Thanksgiving.
All right. So now let's go on to what Democracy for America is actually doing across the country. So talk to me about your latest round of endorsements and what that's about.
Well, there's some good ones. And, I know there's lots of talk about losing majorities in the House and all this kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is we've got some great opportunities to not only keep the majority in the House and keep Pelosi as Speaker, which is very important, I think, and should be important to all of us, but also to pick up a bunch of seats. And in particular, Steve Pugnier, who's running for Congress against Mary Bono Mack. He's been a great mayor of Palm Springs. Manon Trivedi running in Pennsylvania. Joe Garcia, who's running for an open seat in Florida. David Siegel, he is in a primary for Patrick Kennedy's seat in Rhode Island. And Colleen Hanabusa in Hawaii, running for Neil Abercrombie's seat. These are all candidates that are not only going to help us keep that majority, but more importantly, maybe even most importantly, how shall I say this, improve the quality of the Democratic caucus in the House, which maybe is not needed as much as it is in the Senate, but definitely is needed. These are activists, these are progressives, these are fighters and truth tellers, and that's what we're about. So we're very, very pleased to endorse them. And we'll be endorsing, actually entering in a campaign called Heroes and Villains soon to help some incumbents who have been terrific. We've already helped out Alan Grayson, certainly, and Donna Edwards and Carol Shea Porter, but there are others that need our help that we need to have in there so that we can actually fulfill the real change thing that Obama was campaigning for 2 years ago.
Well, I hear you on that. You said something interesting in there that I want to press on just a little more. David Siegel in Rhode Island is running against Patrick Kennedy in a primary. Now, Rhode Island is one of the most liberal states in the country, so you would imagine you can get a real progressive out of that state. Why support Patrick Kennedy's opponent there? Is there an issue with?
All right, he's not. Patrick Kennedy's actually retiring.
Okay.
So this is an open seat
I got you.
and a Democratic primary against two other Democrats, and we're not saying that they're the bad guys, so to speak. One of them is the mayor of Providence. The other one is a longtime active individual in the party. But David Siegel's a real progressive. He's been that way when he was in the Rhode Island legislature. He has stood up on tough issues such as equality, such as women's right to choose. And that's the kind of thing that we need. We don't need someone triangulating in there. We need some people that are really going to, again, be fighters and truth tellers. And we think out of the three candidates in there, he is definitely the one, without question, who is a fighter and truth teller. And we think he's the best qualified person for that reason to replace Patrick Kennedy, especially Patrick Kennedy, in that race.
Okay, that's what got me interested. I hear what you're saying. Of course, Kennedy's retiring. Okay, so Jim, finally, where do people go to find out about these progressive candidates, and especially in their local areas?
Well, certainly you can go to democracyforamerica.com, and you'll see both these candidates and a bunch of other great candidates we're helping. And I'm not going to read the whole list here, but it would also say that if you go to democracyforamerica.com, you could take that pledge to have that conversation about religious tolerance and freedom that I think we all need to do. I just took the pledge myself about 5 minutes ago before I came on the air, and would encourage everybody else to do that, and most importantly, to have that conversation with somebody so that we can spread the word and get this country back on the right track for the values that have stood us well for over 250 years.
All right. Proud to have a dean I agree with on this topic on the show. So thank you, Jim. We appreciate it.